Welcome back to our channel, where we uncover the most gripping true crime stories from around the world. Today, we're delving into another tragic and heartbreaking case. In a world where social media connects us like never before, it also exposes us to dangers we may never see coming. This is the tragic story of Rannita Williams, a young woman from Shreveport, Louisiana, whose life was senselessly taken in a horrifying act of violence that unfolded live on Facebook. A story of love, betrayal, and an out-of-control obsession, this case not only shocked a community, but also served as a dark reminder of the real-life dangers lurking behind the screens. Rannita Williams, affectionately known as Nunu by her friends and family, was a 27-year-old mother with a lively spirit and a love for life. Known for her infectious smile and caring nature, she was someone who deeply loved her family and was devoted to her children. Rannita had a passion for fashion and enjoyed sharing her life on social media, where she was quite active. However, what should have been a tool for connection and expression turned into a platform for a crime that would shock everyone who knew her. Rannita's life was far from perfect, but she was striving to create a better future for herself and her children. She had dreams and ambitions like anyone her age, and she wasn't afraid to show her fun side to the world. However, behind the smiles and the selfies, there was a complicated and sometimes troubled relationship history that would ultimately play a role in her untimely death. One of the people in Rannita's life was Jonathan Robinson, a 36-year-old man who had a volatile history with her. Their relationship had been rocky, marked by arguments and breakups, but it wasn't always easy to escape the past. Jonathan was known to have a temper and a criminal record, with a history of violent behaviour. His obsessive and controlling nature became increasingly dangerous over time, especially as their relationship soured. Though it is not entirely clear what drove Robinson to the brink, it is known that he had a history of conflicts, both with Rannita and others. As with many toxic relationships, there were red flags that indicated Robinson was not someone who could easily let go or move on. Friends and family had seen this side of him, but none could have imagined the extent to which his anger would manifest. On April 12, 2018, the situation took a deadly turn. Before proceeding, I'd like to share an important message with everyone. We've been exerting our utmost effort to produce top-notch content on our channel. Despite our dedication over a considerable period, we're yet to reach our initial goal of 1,000 subscribers, with 97% of our viewers yet to subscribe. Therefore, we kindly ask you to consider subscribing to our channel if you enjoy our content. Rannita was at her home on Natalie Street in Shreveport, Louisiana, a place where she should have felt safe. At around 11 a.m, Robinson arrived at her house, and what followed was an escalation that quickly spiraled out of control. Rannita, sensing that things were about to get dangerous, decided to start a live stream on Facebook, a choice that would inadvertently broadcast her final moments to the world. The live stream started as Robinson, pacing around the house, unleashed a tirade of verbal abuse. Rannita tried to stay calm, addressing him directly on camera in an attempt to de-escalate the situation. "Stop, Jonathan," she said repeatedly, her voice filled with a mixture of fear and frustration. She tried to placate him, hoping he would leave without causing harm, but it was clear that Robinson was in a rage and no words could calm him down. As the video continued, viewers could hear Robinson's fury growing. He shouted at Rannita, accusing her of disrespect and other grievances, some of which seemed to be linked to social media conflicts with another woman. His anger was irrational and intense, the kind that leaves no room for reasoning. What followed next was a nightmare captured in real time. Without warning, Robinson raised a gun, a .38 caliber revolver, and pointed it at Rannita. The camera, still recording, captured Rannita's fear as she begged for her life. But Robinson was beyond reason, saying, "I'm going to kill you," he shouted. And then, in a horrifying instant, he fired the first shot. Rannita screamed in pain, collapsing to the ground, but the live stream kept going. The audience, horrified and helpless, watched as the attack continued. Robinson fired several more shots, with the chilling sounds echoing through the live feed. In total, he fired 6 bullets, and Rannita's desperate cries filled the digital void. The live-streamed attack didn't just shock those watching, it also triggered an immediate response from the Shreveport Police Department. The sound of gunfire and the cries for help alerted neighbours, who quickly called 911. Within minutes, officers arrived on the scene, surrounding the house where Robinson had barricaded himself inside. What followed was an intense standoff that lasted nearly 80 minutes. Robinson, still armed and dangerous, refused to surrender. Officers could hear him shouting from inside the house, and the tension was palpable. Negotiators tried to communicate with Robinson, attempting to coax him out peacefully, but his rage seemed unquenchable. It was a delicate and dangerous situation, one that required precision and caution. Finally, after more than an hour of tense negotiations, Robinson emerged from the house and was taken into custody. He was charged with second-degree murder, among other charges. But for Rannita Williams, it was too late. She was pronounced dead at the hospital, leaving behind her children, her family, and a community reeling from the horror they had witnessed. The murder of Rannita Williams was a shocking and brutal crime that left a deep scar on the Shreveport community. It wasn't just the senseless nature of the crime that disturbed so many. It was the fact that it played out live on social media, in front of an audience of hundreds, possibly thousands. People who knew Rannita were left in disbelief, grappling with the reality that they had witnessed her final moments, helpless to intervene. Rannita's family was devastated. She was a beloved daughter, a caring mother, and a friend to many. Her death left a void that could never be filled. Her children in particular were left without their mother, a tragedy that is impossible to put into words. The community rallied around her family, offering support and condolences. But the pain was unimaginable. The legal proceedings against Jonathan Robinson moved forward swiftly. He was charged with second-degree murder, and his trial began in 2019. During the trial, the prosecution presented a strong case, relying heavily on the video evidence that had been streamed live on Facebook. It was a chilling piece of evidence that left little doubt about Robinson's guilt. The jury saw firsthand the horror of what happened that day. The rage, the violence, and the complete disregard for human life. Robinson's defense team tried to argue that he had acted in a fit of rage, but the evidence was overwhelming. The jury found him guilty of first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. For Rannita's family, there was some sense of justice in the verdict, but no amount of punishment could bring her back or erase the trauma of her final moments. The murder of Rannita Williams also sparked a broader conversation about the role of social media in real-life violence. The fact that her murder was broadcast live on Facebook raised serious concerns about how such platforms can be used to amplify and broadcast violent crimes. It led to calls for stricter controls and faster responses from social media companies to prevent such tragedies from being shared and spread online. For many, the video of Rannita's murder served as a stark reminder of the dark side of social media, a tool that can connect us but also expose us to unforeseen dangers. It highlighted the need for better protections, both online and offline, especially for individuals in volatile relationships or situations. Despite the tragedy of her death, those who knew Rannita remember her not for the way she died, but for the way she lived. She was a loving mother who cared deeply for her children, a daughter who brought joy to her family, and a friend who was always there to support others. Her life was cut short by a senseless act of violence, but her memory lives on in the hearts of those who loved her. Rannita Williams' story is a painful reminder of the dangers that can lurk behind closed doors and the toxic relationships that can escalate to deadly violence. It is a call to action for all of us to be vigilant, to speak up, and to support those who may be in danger. Her tragic death continues to resonate as a story of loss, but also as a catalyst for change in how we view and handle domestic violence and the role of social media in our lives. May her story remind us of the preciousness of life and the importance of protecting one another from harm, both online and offline. Additionally, the Q Crime channel offers numerous other captivating cases for you to explore. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated with Q Crime Story videos every day. Farewell for now, and we eagerly anticipate your presence in our future video.